Good Tuesday morning, everyone. Welcome back. You're watching the Kaiser Report, and we have a few things to cover today. Kaiser's here with me on the sofa, waiting patiently to start his run for the day. And we have a few things to accomplish today, so he'll be out and about in his favorite ride with me today. But let's talk a little bit about what's going on in and around our lives here in the United States, that we are constantly being told to live in fear of this, fear of that, and fear of everything around us, including our particular governmental employees right now that are not in favor of the Democratic side and the mainstream media that wants you in fear constantly. They don't report the news anymore. They want you in fear of the news. Everything is going to be bad that is bad, and they don't really care other than keeping you on edge. And being on edge is not your best thing for not only your health, but being around other people in fear all the time is not conducive to living a life that we have the ability to live in this country. If you have been paying attention to even the Weather Channel, which we know is run by NBC, and if you're not aware of that, look it up. This is why Al Roker is on there from time to time. And then you have the cast of characters that started back in June, whipping up the fear of the big hurricane that is going to wipe us all out. And now there's a hurricane that is forming. It's actually a tropical storm off the coast of a small island off the coast of Africa. And they're right now, as of this morning, and have been for the last 3 days, pumping up the fact that it's going to be devastating when it hits us. They don't even know, by the European models, are saying that it will be pushed back out to sea before it ever comes here, but they want you in fear now. Get everything packed up and ready to leave. It could be another Helene. It could be another Katrina. And, you need to be on pins and needles waiting for this thing to cross the Atlantic Ocean and make landfall here in the United States. They have been trying to push hurricanes on us since June. There's something wrong here, folks. They're losing their grip on the fear that they want you in over climate change. Climate change has been shown now to be 4 seasons of different weather, some more severe in one case or another, but this has happened since the beginning of time. My time, at least. We've always had large snowstorms in the winter, and we've always had a lot of heat in the summertime. Where I grew up, we went and played on roofs with our friends that were tar roofs that were melt in the heat. So don't tell me that it's so much hotter now than it ever was, because that is not true. Most of what mainstream media and the news channels want to put you in fear of, and that's what they're doing, keep you in fear, and then believe everything that they tell you is happening. President bad, Democrats need to stop the deportation of their fellow Americans, who are not fellow Americans. In some cases, they are very bad criminals that are being rounded up. And if you're in this country without papers and illegally here, then you need to go back to your country of origin like our ancestors did and reapply to come into this country legally. And they can all self-deport, make $1,000 and a free plane ride home if they so choose. But we have a whole bunch of people, 20-plus million people, who have illegally entered this country and have been peppered throughout the country in probably a community near you. That you have to live in fear. You can't ride the subways in any of the major cities any longer, such as New York, without fear for something happening to either you or the person next to you, or somebody that looks at somebody the wrong way and can end up with a knife in their chest or burned to death on a subway. And Hochul and the mayor of New York think that that's perfectly okay. But then again, they thought it was perfectly okay to give people, $3,000 a month and a room at the Roosevelt Hotel with maid service. You go try and get that for free and see what they tell you. But you're not supposed to be comfortable in any of these cities anymore. You're not supposed to be comfortable in your own home. And if you listen to a person like Beto O'Rourke, who will tell you that he's going to knock at your door and take your guns away, how about we do that with the criminals first? Because they seem to be able to come up with weaponry that I can't go buy, or you cannot go buy if you're a legal citizen. Fully automatic weapons are not allowed unless you have a special permit for them. But yet the cartel and the gang members come up with them. And now you'll listen to all of the rhetoric that's taking place on and about the TV programs all morning long about how, we need to just stop deporting our fellow American citizens.
They'd be happier someplace else.
It's almost incredible when you stop and think about the stupidity of that and how that is going to be pushed and pushed and pushed even more, along with the fact that we have Maxine Waters and half of the Democratic congressional, not only committee people, but ranking members that are telling you to take to the streets.
It mean nothing. Actions mean everything. Watch this. Watch it very closely. Ask a lot of questions. Focus those cameras on everything that's going on, because this president is trying to lead us into what could be called a civil war.
Kamala Harris shows up on talk shows recently telling you to get in the street and fight. This is why people are taking to the street and the bad behavior that ensues as a result of it, especially when you talk down to the middle to lower class areas of people that are trying to climb the ladder of success and make them so afraid that it won't happen that they have to take to the streets. That's not the way it should be. The way it should be right now is telling them you have every chance in the world to have a better life, and this is how you go about doing it. Don't tell them to take to the streets with bad behavior or raid grocery stores or break the windows out of an Apple store or a jewelry store so you can load up your personal goods to resell. That's not what it is meant to be. But the Democrats, especially a Maxine Waters, a Jasmine Crockett, and people like Raskin and the ilk of that nature that want you in the streets to protest everything, is causing you a problem. And it's going to rear its head in the form of jail in some cases, or you will be in gunfights in the streets before too long, and this is not this nation's way to be. And, well, they want us all in fear. Fear of COVID, fear of this disease, fear of that disease. Don't talk about vaccines. Don't talk about this. Don't talk about that. The sky is falling, and Chicken Little, you're going to be dead unless you get in the streets and carry signs saying that you want socialism and communism in place of the perfect union that was formed in this country by our founding fathers, called the Constitution of the United States, and we are a republic. And the only threat to democracy that we face every day of our lives are the threat to democracies that sit in the seats of power in our Congress and in our mayors and in our governors of certain states, such as Illinois, when you have Fat Prisker out there doing everything under the sun to make you even more afraid. And now he's signing a bill in to where if your children are going to school in Illinois and they are misbehaving, they're going to have a school board giving the rights to medicate your child or to have a psychological evaluation by people who may or may not be capable of doing that. Is that what you want in the rest of your states, wherever you are in the United States of America? I certainly don't want to see that happening. And I hope that you do not want to see it happening again or around you in any form of that. We all should have our own doctors. If your child is having a problem, it doesn't always mean he has ADD and needs to be put on this drug or some psychotropic drug that's going to change his or her personality or make them more suicidal. There's a lot of deaths happening among people, and a lot of it is attributed to social media. We know that now. So why not fix that problem instead of having some school board decide what drug your child needs to be on? It's out of hand. It's getting crazier by the day, and whether or not it's attributed to somebody taking a certain drug or the infiltration of drugs into our society, someone needs to look at the cause and come up with a solution to the problem. But on all cases, you cannot listen to mainstream media, and you cannot listen to people like Kamala Harris and Maxine Waters telling you to go out and fight and keep on fighting. That will cause a civil war if they keep continuing to push this narrative. And we all need to wake up to that fact. It's unbelievable at the craziness that you can just see on social media, and imagine your children that have to sit there and be not only bullied on social media, but taught how to not act properly on social media. They text across a table from each other now rather than have a conversation. And a lot of this is in a direct correlation to the lockdowns that took place over the COVID grand scam that was pulled over our eyes for either a test or a trial run. I know some people are not going to like hearing that, but it's the truth. You cannot pull people from society, hide them away in a basement with a machine that they can sit there with their thumbs and text all kinds of stuff, nonsense back and forth, and do TikToks that are, in some cases, hilarious to me, but damaging to others that take this as a reality check. They have lived for the last 4 years in isolation and in a fantasy world of make-believe. They need to go out in the streets, play basketball, play stoop ball, play stickball, or get some exercise somewhere, ride a bike, rollerblade, do something that gets you out in public and become part of a society as it were. Not as what the fake people and bots on these internets are trying to make of our youth. There's bots for everything anymore. And this is something I urge you as parents of young people to curtail the time and the amount of time that is spent on these idiot boxes. And when I was young, they called the TV an idiot box, and it turned out to be true. It is. It made idiots of a lot of people my age. I know that. Locked into a make-believe society and listening to people who make believe they're other people as actors and actresses are not reality. Reality is out there in God's green earth or on a city street doing something productively. Get involved in some games. If you live in a major city, go talk to a parky somewhere and see if you can play in a basketball game. Even sit and play checkers or chess with somebody you don't know. It'll exercise your mind in a proper fashion rather than being lost in the lunatic fringe. And with that, I'm going to show you another happy liberal right here.
I just got fired from my job for being sick. I got hired on March 7th. Somehow I got sick during my interview and I brought home a virus. Told them I wasn't going to be there. I finally get my training done and I'm in the classroom and I get a stomach bug. This is like a week and a half after I got over the cold. At this point, I'm pissing out my ass. So I told them I can't come to work. I'm on the toilet. After the stomach bug, I caught a head cold, and I have a fever. Can't go to work. In between all of this, me getting sick, I have 2 kids. My 2 kids are in childcare. If they are sick and can't go because they have vomiting, diarrhea, or a fever, I have to stay home with them. So if I'm getting sick and they're getting sick, we got 3 people circulating all these issues. And yeah, I had to stay home with them quite a few days when I felt okay. I finally get over the head cold and I get a chest cold, which I have right now. Just to mention though, I had 2 court hearings that I had to be there for. That should have been excused. So then on Tuesday, I called out because
it's incredible what society has become and what people think of themselves and others any longer. It's almost unbelievable what the lunatic fringe sees in drumming up fear in everything. Everything that has rules, you're supposed to be afraid of. You're supposed to buck all the rules, which is not a good thing for anyone to do. We all did in the past run along the fringe of rules, but when you got caught, there were consequences. Today, there are no consequences for breaking the rules. Everybody thinks it's just a thing to do, and everybody is going along up and down and left and right to bend those rules or run along the lunatic fringe of them. But they see fear in everything that has rules, and they're told by media and politicians that they need to fear the rules because the wrong person is going to hold you to those rules. Take a look here.
What could go wrong?
All right, to all my fellow federal jabroniacs, how do you guys feel about the IRS releasing a memorandum that allows now for everyone to just put out whatever kind of religious artifacts that they want? And not only that, but now you're allowed to tell people that you feel that they may have been misinformed about their religion and try and convince them what
The hell are you talking about?
to come to yours. So how do you feel about that?
Stop it. Get some help.
Well, MSNBC and CBS, ABC, NBC, MSNBC, CNN, they're all involved in this destruction of truth that they push down your throats every day, especially over there on MSNBC with Gumby Head there in the morning jackass. He just fluctuates between the truth and fantasy land most of the time. But that's what you get. Now they're up in arms over at MSNBC about the ICE recruitments. They're trying to recruit people to work in ICE because there are 20 million people that have to be found, and they have to be vetted, and we have to know what they're here for, how they got here, and sent back to enter properly one more time. This takes a lot of people to do this. It's not something that is done that easily without the manpower to do this. We had no manpower on the border intentionally to let these people in, and now we need the manpower to get them out. And MSNBC and that bunch over there do not like the ads that are being run. Well, too darn bad. If I were a little younger and could qualify, I would do it for free. I would join ICE tomorrow. And I applaud any young person that is thinking about a career in law enforcement. There is the place to start. There or the military, where you can go into the military police and come out and be qualified to go into a police department in the city of your choice. And the same will happen with these ICE recruitments. You'll get good people, and of course you're always going to get one that doesn't want to follow the rules. We know that. But take a look here.
All right, take a look at this. I want to show you some recent recruitment ads from the Department of Homeland Security, specifically ICE. This is the landing page on the joinice.gov website, featuring an image of Uncle Sam with the headline, "America needs you." It eerily reads underneath, quote, "America has been invaded by criminals and predators. We need you to get them out." As ICE attempts to boost its recruitment numbers, it's hitting social media with an ad blitz. According to 404 Media, DHS is also looking to run ads on streaming services like HBO Max and Hulu, and Uncle Sam was actually one of the milder ads. Here's another one featuring what appears to be a vintage ad for a van. The tweet says, "Think about how many criminal illegal aliens you could fit in this bad boy." And then the kicker, quote, "Want to deport illegals with your absolute boys?" Take a look at this ad, which reads, "Serve your country, defend your culture. No undergraduate degree required."
That sounds like fun. Does that sound like fun to you?
Hey, Radley, let me start with you. On one hand, this was kind of a joke. It's kind of funny when you see these ICE ads, but it's kind of not, right? I mean, it's a massive force, $75 billion for this force that apparently we need you to join, and you don't really have to have many qualifications at all. You got to just submit to that line at the bottom of the ad that says America is being invaded by predators and you need to defend your culture. This is weird stuff.
Yeah, I think it's dangerous stuff. I mean, if we look at, let's add all this up, right? I mean, you've got DHS that's putting out these social media posts that are studded with white supremacist themes and art that's been explicitly sort of used by white supremacists over the years.
Oh, what the f*** ever?
You've got DHS that's putting out these social media posts that are studded with white supremacist themes and art that's been explicitly sort of used by white supremacists over the years.
And you ain't black.
There were times when I was doing Jack that I actually felt retarded, like really retarded. I mean, I brushed my teeth retarded. I rode the bus retarded.
Damn.
In a weird way, I had to sort of just free myself up to believe that it was okay to be stupid or dumb.
So before we get into the exit of Stupid Town, I think one of the stupidest things that I've ever seen in my life, and I've been on a lot of ships in my lifetime and some boats that were amazing. However, the floating fear and stupidity of these high-rise buildings built on a bottom of a top of a boat that are out there floating around with games and everything that's on the top of them, that is not a good situation when you think about top heaviness, number one, and then to put all these water slides and things of that nature on there was absolutely ridiculous. If you're out on the water, why do you need a water, the old cruise ships that, the Queen Mary and the Queen Elizabeth and Queen Elizabeth II were wonderful ships, and they did have a swimming pool, but it's unbelievable. I'm going to let you take a look right here.
This morning, a nightmare scene on board a dream ship. A man injured after the acrylic glass broke off the frightening Bolt water slide on Royal Caribbean's Icon of the Seas, sending torrents of water pouring on the deck below. The vessel was at sea traveling between the U.S. Virgin Islands and the Bahamas when the incident occurred. The frightening Bolt is the tallest drop slide at sea, with a drop floor that propels the guest along the 282-foot slide through a 360-degree loop.
No more slide!
Passengers heard screaming, the hole in the bottom of the slide visible once the water was turned off. Icon of the Seas is the world's largest cruise ship and has only been in service since January of last year. Experts say even though images like these are alarming, the seas are still safe.
These slides, probably much more frequently than land-based, are continuously and constantly being inspected for, any issues. If cracks are determined, these slides and attractions are immediately taken out of service.
Does crack cocaine make you act any differently? No. Is it safer than alcohol? Probably. People think of crack as being dirty. It's the exact opposite.
Royal Caribbean issuing a statement. The guest is being treated for his injuries. The water slide is closed for the remainder of the sailing, pending an investigation.
Royal Caribbean also saying the investigation is ongoing and the passengers reportedly new information in stable condition. Icon of the Seas will return to port tomorrow morning.
Wow.
Yeah,
all right.
I know.
My neck, my back, my neck and my back. Oh, I want 150,000.
Now that is a great time to exit after seeing that into Stupid Town. And we have a few things for you to look at there. So please take this exit with me.
I think we need to start bullying people that watch Fox News.
I agree.
I think
Shame them.
They need to be bullied for their abject intellectual laziness and the fact that they sit there and serve up this cruelty and that these Fox viewers sit there and digest it with glee.
Like it.
It is the dumbest thing you can do, watch Fox News.
I'm all in.
I am disgusted after watching that debate. I am disgusted that the world sees that that's the Republican Party's best foot forward. I am embarrassed to the core of my being that I live in a place where people see that and they excuse it and they're going to vote for him against every form of critical thought that they have. It disgusts me. I cannot believe that we have to sit here and talk about that complete shit show. Lunatic. Again, it's just, I can't believe that people see that and think, I'm voting for him.
That was actress and interior designer Jennifer Welsh. I'm sure you recognize her from her cameos on Bravo Network and the documentary Nose Jobs Gone Wrong. She laid out a very well articulated argument on why. Yeah, I don't even know what she was saying. I just kept staring at her waxy face.
President Trump holds this press conference at the White House about the Olympics,
Yes.
where you're not there, but he talks about you.
I will use the National Guard or military. This is going to be so safe if we have to, because obviously you have a mayor that is not very competent. She can't get the permits for the people. You know, the people are still waiting for their permits.
So what's your response to the president on the permit issue?
Well, he has no clue about what he is talking about.
We do know that a lot of people have been frustrated that permits aren't coming faster.
We have issued over
There have been some permit problems, right? It's been moving
there's
slow.
problems all over. The permitting process is complicated, so he has no clue what he's talking about.
I realize we're right about the 6-month anniversary of destruction, and nothing is going on over there. I do not see any new construction.
This woman is incompetent. She's done a terrible job.
Okay, I have another rant. So I'm at 54th Street with my kids eating. This is the first meal of the day for, I would say, all of us. My kids had snacks, but that's not really a meal. And so my son orders chicken nuggets and fries, and he ate the fries, but he didn't really like the chicken. And I told the waitress that he didn't like it, and she was going to take it away. And I said, well, can we get it taken off the bill or a discount, because he ate the fries, but he didn't eat the chicken. Now, we know that chicken is the most expensive portion on that plate than the fries are. And she's like, okay, so she talks to the manager. She takes the whole kids' meal is $7.50. She charges me $5 for the fries. And it was probably like 10 fries on the plate. So I'm like annoyed right now and will probably complain about it. Finding this event to you guys to see if I'm crazy. And I wasn't too happy with the sauce that was on my fajitas. Like, I don't know sauce that's on fajitas, and I eat fajitas all the time. It wasn't bad, it just wasn't great. So my kids chose this place. I won't order that again. I've been here before, I never had a problem, but I won't order that again. Okay, that's the end of my rant for right now.
Well, that's your visit to Stupid Town today. And with that, it is Taco Tuesday. If you are so inclined, get out and grab a taco, a burrito, or something of that nature. fill up your spirit with, a margarita if you're not working. And if you are working, after work, stop off and have a margarita. It's good for the soul. And speaking of good for the soul, we remember, please pray for the leaders of this country and the leaders of other countries that are in war-torn turmoil right now. And we have a meeting coming up at the end of this week with Vladimir Putin, who is coming to America to meet with our president in and around Alaska somewhere, not to be disclosed at this particular point. But we're hoping that, Donald Trump said he'll know in the first 2 minutes of talking to Putin whether or not there is a deal that can be structured and seen through. My fear, as I say in the past and have said, is that Zelensky's not going along with it because Zelensky lives in fear of losing his particular seat of power in a country that he has absolutely let be destroyed and canceled elections, and is in fear if peace does come to the Ukraine and Russia, that he is out on his ear. And this, I'm sure he's packed away enough cash in some foreign bank somewhere to live a very good life, but he doesn't want to give up that seat of power. I don't trust him as far as I can throw him, and that's not very far. So pray that this peace talk to end that war works out for everybody involved, and peace will once again come to that area of the world that is so inflamed right now that it is frightening. God is watching, and God has his hand on our president. I'm convinced of that. And along with all of our prayers, things good will come from this administration. So with that, we're going to wish you a great, great rest of the today and the rest of this week. And remember, stay safe, stay strong, and always stay tuned to the Kaiser Report for more political commentary, a look into Stupid Town, and a look into the bizarre behavior of the nation's people. Bye-bye now. God bless.